Hello, hello. Welcome to our live. I see there's already eyeballs watching. This was a very impromptu live. I've never gone live directly through YouTube, so this is all new. Bear with me. Make sure that I know where everything's at. So I might fumble a little bit, but I've had some requests to share my onboarding process, and I figured this would be the best way to do it. And then it will live forever on YouTube and help people along the way. So let me close these little things. Say hello in the chat. I want to make sure you can hear me before I start this whole thing. And also, if you have any specific questions regarding onboarding or whatever, please let me know in the chat. I will do my best to answer what I can. And let's get to it. So I'm going to basically be showing you behind the scenes of my Dubsado setup. Let me make sure that I have, there we go. Okay. So yeah, hi, Michael. Yes, of course. I was like, I better send an email. I posted about it on Instagram. Like, I just decided I was going to do this like an hour ago, maybe less than an hour ago. So I was like, I'm just going to get this done. All right. Okay. So I'm going to share my Dubsado tab. Let's see. Move some things around because I want to make sure that I can see the chat and all that good stuff. Okay. This is pretty cool. Can everyone, you should be able to see my screen. This is my, not my Dubsado dashboard because I don't want to share client information because this is my actual Dubsado. This is not a fake account. As you can see, there's lots of stuff in here. Yours probably will not look like this. It's just I've been using it for years and years. So there's some old stuff in here that needs to be cleaned out. Don't let it distract you. So basically what I'm going to do is, actually, I want to start with a different tab. I want to start with the beginning of the process, which is a client comes to you interested in your services. So what I do for that is a Dubsado form embedded on my website on the Contact Us page. So when you click on the top of my website, you click Contact Us, it shows you email, phone number, but also gives the embedded Dubsado form here. So it's like very clear, this is our minimum price. We only use 0. If you're okay with these, then continue on. This might filter out a lot of people. I don't know how many people come to this page and don't fill it out. And I honestly don't really care because that's the point of this. I want people to self-select out because I'm a mom. I only work part-time in my business. I don't have time to be getting on calls with tire kickers. So this is really effective. Most of the discovery calls that I invite people onto, and they show up for one, and for two, they're already ready to work with me because they understand all of this and it's a really easy sell. So my close rate is pretty high because I've done this filtering process. So that's just a side note. If this is the one thing you implement in your onboarding or lead process, let it be this, an intake form. Okay, so it's not too many questions, but it's enough to get a good idea of what the client is like. One key piece of information is their business name and website, because I will go do research and figure out what it is they do and if they fit the niche that we're in. I ask them some other questions about how much they earn in revenue, yada, yada, software, all those things. And then they could submit it. And then this information feeds directly into Dubsado. So I'm going to now share my Dubsado screen. Whoops, not YouTube Live. Share Dubsado. Okay, so now Dubsado, a client has filled out the intake form, and that actually is called a lead capture in Dubsado. So over here, that's this form, the bookkeeping inquiry. Okay, so it gets fed into Dubsado as a lead. So they've filled out their name, their phone number, their email address, and now all of that lives in Dubsado. The workflow, I'm going to start over there. Let me do new inquiry. So this is the first part of the workflow. They fill out that form. They get an email that says, thank you for filling out this form. We're so excited. We're going to review it and someone's going to answer you within the next 24 to 48 hours to let you know next steps. Then I get an email from Dubsado that says, so-and-so has filled out your form. Go read it and decide what to do next. If they are a good fit, I have the templated email already in here that says, we would love to work with you. Here's a link to schedule a discovery call. And so that's what happens. That's how I invite people onto a discovery call. That piece is not quite automated. I have to approve that. If they're not a good fit, we also have a canned email in here that has wording. And sometimes I edit these emails before they go out. So for example, if we look at this, go to edit the email, you can see what the email says. It's got all these liquid forms, so it's personalized. Thanks again for contacting us. After reading your contact form, we think we'd be a perfect fit to work together. And we'd like to book a call. Here we are. And so then there's the link. If you want to add something different in there, you can just type it in and apply it, and it'll apply to that one workflow. It won't change all of them. So that's the cool part. So then say they book a discovery call. The discovery call is over. Now I want to work with them. We've discussed kind of the services and what they need. So then I prepare the proposal after we get off the call. So then that's the number 2 step. So number 1 was the inquiry. Then the number 2 step is, depending on what type of client they are, you can see I have 3 different workflows depending on what was the result of that discovery call. Are they a brand new business or we're just getting rid of their QuickBooks file and doing a fresh start in Xero? Or are we migrating them from QBO? There's various options here that I've built out. So I am going to go ahead and click on the QBO migration. And so when you are done with the discovery call, their information's already in Dubsado. So you can pull them up in Dubsado and then just apply this workflow to that project that's already been created. And again, it's not going to send the proposal. You have to approve it. So what you do is you go in and you edit the proposal first. So now I'm going to go in to that form. So it's in my form templates. We're going to look at the proposal from the back end, and this is where you can really customize things and make them look pretty in your brand. And our clients love it. So, because most of them are creatives, so it really can set you apart. So we have this top section with pictures and kind of an overview of what all of our services provide, and then a background on our company. And then we get into the options. So this is where I would modify based on how that discovery call went. Like, they're going to be a good fit for a different package. So I can select different packages and pop them in here. We might offer some add-on services, but if you don't want some of those, you can just delete these blocks. And then the final details, how they hear about us, how do they prefer to communicate. And then we have some tips to help the engagement go smoothly. You can never communicate too much with clients. So if we preview it, this is what it's going to look like for the client on their end. Maybe if it loads. There we go. So it looks a little more seamless. Kind of looks like a web page. And they get to things that they want to do. So let's say they select that. And then they fill out all of this. Say that's phone. I don't know why that isn't. I need to fix that. Something's wrong with that form. And then if there's another preferred communication, and down normally at the bottom, it will have an option to submit the form. So then the next part of the process is the engagement. Then the engagement letter will automatically populate and fill in the scope of the package that they chose. And so I'm going to click on my engagement letter. So then they see something like this automatically when they choose their options. Let's It's taking a minute to load. I'm going to close that because we're done with that. So we put our logo at the top, who's going to be the project sponsor to oversee our services in case business owners in contact with. And then we just go through the engagement letter. So this is the field that pulls from the proposal, the package that they selected. So it'll bullet point all of those things out that are in the package. And then more engagement letter stuff, all the things. And then at the bottom, they sign and submit. And then it will automatically take them to the first invoice to pay. And so this is really key for us because we don't begin onboarding. They can't get through the process until they pay that first invoice. And the way that I handle it inside of my firm is we don't actually do their monthly invoicing through Dubsado. It's just that first initial invoice. And then we move them over into Xero and bill them through there because previously Dubsado didn't really have a good way to do the auto pay and change the first in case there's like a cleanup fee on the first invoice. It was just a little more complicated. So for us, it was easier to just like create the repeating invoice in Xero and bill them through that. And we have that outlined in our onboarding emails. So say they pay the invoice based on that proposal. And now we're going to go back to the workflow to next. Boom. Okay. We were on this migration one. Okay. So then after they've done all of those steps, it changes the project status from lead to onboarding or monthly bookkeeping. I can't remember what I have it called. And then it activates their Dubsado portal. And then I get sent an email that gives me some things that we need to do on the back end, like create their password, create their Google Drive folder, all those things, right? Because in order to do the intake form, we have to have created the Google Drive folder for them to drop things into. So, so then they get the form, which is the intake form, and an email that says, hey, your intake form is ready. These are the next steps, blah, blah, blah. And here's all the information you're going to need. Please submit the form when you're done. And then you'll see some email reminders in here. So we have a couple email reminders that go out if they have not submitted the intake form to keep the process moving along. And yeah, so let's go to the intake form so you can see what that looks like. So I'm just going to, at this point, that if you want your Dubsado set up exactly like this, you can join Dubsado Decoded and get the way that my proposal looks like and this intake form and everything as like one-click templates where you just have to update it with your own branding and put your own pictures in there, your own colors and fonts and stuff. And then the course guides you step by step on exactly how to set these things up in Dubsado. So when it comes time to update things, you know how to handle it. All right, so I'm going to do this one. So I have several different intake forms. This one has some information on Gusto and I think also on QBO. I can't remember. So let's do a preview. It looks nicer. Maybe this one's just Gusto and Xero. So this is the new client onboarding intake form that they get once they've paid their first invoice. And we've set up the Google Drive. There's some manual stuff that happens in the back end, but I have emails triggering to keep us on track for that as well. So we get all the company information, we get their banking information. Most of our clients in our industry use Stripe and PayPal, so we have specific instructions on how to invite us into those. And then we give instructions on how to invite us into Gusto, and that's something that I would know to give them this intake form if I know that they're on Gusto from our discovery call, right? And then invite us into Xero. So this would be someone who already has Xero. And then document requests, we give them a checklist. And this basically links to the Google Drive folder we've created. So they can automatically, once they, do all that, they upload it. And then personal information because we send gifts to all of our clients. If you listen to the podcast, I talked about that, I think last week or the week before, that we send gift boxes to our clients when they complete onboarding. So we wait until like a month or two after to make sure things are going smoothly, because I actually have had situations where a client onboards and we get through this whole process, and then 2 months into it, they're like, my business is going down, or I'm pivoting and I don't need your help, or working with us wasn't what they, you know, actually need. Various reasons. It hasn't happened very often, but it does happen. So wait a little bit before you send them an expensive gift. At least that's my process. I guess you don't have to wait if you don't want to. And then, yeah, basically, thank you. We'll be in touch to set up your first onboarding meeting. So then we do all our stuff in the background, get as far as we can in the onboarding, make sure we've gotten all the documents, send them additional requests if we need to. And then we invite them onto an onboarding meeting. So in general, what happens is we schedule that meeting fairly quickly, because inevitably there's a couple things that we just can't get through without the client. And sometimes it's just easier to have them on a call to tackle it together. But also on that first call is when we connect bank feeds. We walk them through how to use HubDoc and things like that. And so it's really good to kind of keep things moving quickly when people are excited to work with you. All right, so that's the intake form. So once the intake form is complete, like I said, we have an email, again, another canned email that goes to click approve on that. I'll go back to the workflow again. We have to click approve on the intake form is completed. So now we're sending them in another email, and that's in this step. That gives them a link to book their onboarding call and lets them know like what we're going to be doing on the onboarding call. A good idea, especially if you are going to be linking bank accounts and all of that together on the onboarding call, put that in the email that says we're going to be linking bank accounts. Have your passwords and logins ready. All right. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then we have a to-do to send the welcome gift. And then it starts a third workflow 90 days after their invoice was paid. And that is to automate the client testimonial process. So where is it? Delivery. I also have a workflow for disengagement. So then it's at 90 days from the date that they sign their engagement letter, basically, they get a testimonial submission form, which is another form that looks just like that intake form that asks for a testimonial. And it sends an email asking for it. So this is another thing that I talked about on the podcast that I did with Corey. We talked about getting testimonials. This has been a game changer for us because it's just happening in the background. We don't have to remember when to ask for it. It just happens. And now we've stockpiled all these testimonials that eventually I'll probably use for social media. But what we do initially right away is when someone does a testimonial, if they've checked the confirmation on like allowing a testimonial on our website, we'll put it on our website immediately. So I highly recommend you do the same thing. So that is the back end of my Dubsado. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If you found this valuable, let me know. And if you, I'm trying to build up a little bit more on YouTube because, I think more people need these like behind the scenes. So if you want more of this type of stuff, let me know. I would love to provide that for you. So, all right. Well, I guess that's it. That was just 20 minutes. So we're doing pretty good. Thank you so much for those of you who stuck around to watch. And again, we are running a sale for Dubsado Decoded. If you go to dubsadodecoded.com, you can learn all the information about that program. There's a couple different versions. There's a full version that gives you multiple workflows as you know, I kind of went over right here. There's different workflows that you can build. And then there's a basic version, and then you can add on different workflows later. But I I partnered with Kendra Courtney, who is a Dubsado specialist, and we developed all of this together to model what mine looks like. The stuff in the program is more up to date and nicer, honestly, with the new forms and everything like that. Um, and a lot of it, it's just a matter of clicking a button and inserting that whole form, so you don't have to actually do the building of it. And it makes it really easy. And she's amazing at teaching people how to use Dubsado and navigate it. So the one part that I did not go over is the scheduler part, which you can use the scheduler in Dubsado, and she shows you how to do that, set that up, and implement that in that course as well. Since I use Acuity, I don't use the Dubsado scheduler. I'm not going to show you that part because I don't use it. Um, so yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Michael. Yeah. Thank you, Erin. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you guys soon.